Hey guys, excuse me as I'm drinking my Ovaltine in the morning. Yes, Ovaltine. If you don't know what Ovaltine is, that means you're younger than like 35 years old. So ask your parents. Anyway, the this is problem number 27 on chapter 23. If you've already done this and you're confident, then you're good. But if not, then check it out and just make sure that you've picked up some of these finer points that I'm going to hit. Basically, what happened here is people think that product recall, oops, that recall of brands of products that were advertised is different depending on the type of show. So they're saying, hey, if the program is a violent type of program versus a type of program that has sexual content versus a type of program that is neutral content, neither one of those, or that might not be offensive to any group of people, I suppose. Um, they want to know, is there a difference between product recall or brand recall? Okay, so let's look at this. And this says, do these results indicate that viewer memory for ads may differ depending on the program content? In other words, for here it's 2.08 ads recalled. If it's a violent program, if it's a sexual content program, it's 1.71, and if it's neutral, it's 3.17. Okay, just without don't read anything else. Okay, don't read this yet. I just want to know, by looking at those numbers, is there a difference? Well, it looks like there's a difference. The question is, are those numbers significantly different, or could they have happened by chance? That's the essence of what we're doing this whole unit. Is are the differences in these average number of programs or brands recalled? Could one time I have gotten 1.7 as an average and another time get a 3.17, and it just happened randomly? Or is that significantly different, meaning there really is a difference between the number of brands recalled depending on the TV show we're watching? Okay, so they did this. They said a test of hypothesis that there is no difference in memory. So we're going to assume that there is no difference in brand recall. And in HA is there is a difference in brand recall. That's what H0 is. Is always there's no difference. If we have like two samples, it means one's equal to the other. Well, the issue we have here is that we have three samples, right? And we haven't done anything like with three samples. That comes in chapter 26, actually. But we can still talk about this, because if H0 there's no difference, HA there is a difference. And if a p-value, they tell us the p-value is 13.6%. So this is the kicker. Can you describe what that means, or what's your conclusion? Okay, well, I could say this, since, oops, I should pause and let you guys think about that for a sec. What does that 13.6 really tell us? Well, you know what the conclusion is, right? Since 13.6% is greater than 5%, I fail to reject H0. In other words, no evidence for HA. And if this was a test problem of any sort, you would be writing it out, right? But I just want to focus on what it means here. So we don't have evidence for HA, meaning I don't have any reason to think that there's no difference, that there's a difference in the brand recall. Okay. I didn't prove anything, right? No reason to believe there is a difference in brand recall. Okay, now I suspect, well, actually, I'll go. We'll talk about AP testing another video, but make sure you put this in context. Of course, I don't have a reason to believe there's a difference in brand recall. based on this p-value, right? Because this is the chance, this p-value is, if there's no difference, then this is the p-value's the probability equals the probability of getting results this far apart or more. So the chance that I get a difference of 1.71 to 3.17 or bigger is 13%. Okay, so we say, yeah, that's likely to happen, or it could happen by chance. I'm not surprised. Okay, so there's A. So now let's look up at B. B actually says, is there evidence that viewer memory for ads may differ between programs with sexual content and those with neutral? So this one is saying no difference between among the three. That's A. B is saying, is there a difference just between these two? Okay, which is a different question, right? Okay, maybe the min and the max they might be extreme, but amongst them all, they all are kind of in the same window, which is what we're saying down here. Okay, so for B, so B we're going to do a 2 sample. I'm going to go ahead and get some room here. So B, 2 sample t-test. Okay, and we're going to say mu s is the number, or the average, don't forget to do things like that, average number of brands recalled during a show with sexual content mu n is the average number of brands recalled during the show with neutral content. If you're going to do the ditto marks, just make sure it lines up for someone reading it that makes sense. Okay, so 2 sample t-test, I'm going to do H0 mu s equals mu n. We're going to assume that there's no brand recall, right? Or no difference. And here we're going to say mu s. They just asked if there's a difference, right? May differ. So we're going to say not equal to mu n. Okay. The conditions, we're going to assume random samples. 2. We got to look at the sample size of each of them. Do we say, I didn't get the last part, so I'm going to assume, okay, NS and NN were less than 10% of the population. I think I said it in the first part of the problem. 3, we've got, oh, actually, no, I'm going to pause it and look it up. Oops, I guess I just need to look at the problem. Here's the number of subjects, right? 108. Okay, so 108 is less than 10% of the population. And for number 3, NS equals NN equals 108 is greater than 30, so by the central limits theorem, we are okay to proceed with the test. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 sample t-test right here on my calculator. Let's see, 2 sample t-test. X1 I'm going with is the mu s, or my sexual content sample. So it's going to be 1.71. Standard deviation 1.76. It's 108. And then X2 is 3.17. S2 is 1.77. 2 is 108. Not equal to. Not pooled. Calculate it, and we are going to go, oops. Don't need that. and hit buttons in the bottom. Okay, so if I do the test, I get t equals negative 6.08. So 6 standard deviations away from the mean, which is significant, of course. The p-value is 5.49 times 10 to the negative 9th, which we say is approximately 0. Okay, so is it likely for me to get samples this far apart from each other by chance? And the answer is no. So since 0 is less than 5%, always compare it to the 5% or 1% or whatever alpha is. I have strong evidence that mu s is not equal to mu n. And just make sure, again, if you use that, you've clearly defined what they are up here. Okay, so what's the big deal about this? Well, if you're an advertiser, what kind of shows you want to put your ads on, right? The neutral content shows, you've got a much higher recall for neutral content shows than sexual content shows. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that does. So this is a 2-sample t-test. Okay, again, confidence intervals are the same. So we just did a 1 sample on the last video. This is a 2-sample video. The next video we're going to do what's called a paired test. All right, there you go.